Turn.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Mario, for that very uh, concise message. So before we will introduce our first speaker, may I ask everyone to turn on their cameras, please, so that at least I know na hindi mumu yung mga nandito sa our participants. Let's see our faces, everyone. Except for one of my camera na hindi talaga siya gumagana. So that at least you can see that you are here alive, kicking. Hindi lang siya open ang monitor just for the attendance. But you are really here physically and mentally. Ang dami pang walang open. Oo. So, let's see your hands. Kaway-kaway. Kung hindi pa natutulog, everyone. Just move your hands. At least I can see that you are moving your hands and you are there. Okay lang may kinakain. Okay lang na you are doing something. Basta you are here joining us and thank you so much. So, thank you very much. So may I have now Dr. Gilbert A. Celesio to introduce our first resource person. Dr. Celesio.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, to our very active
Sir,
teacher
off yung
education
microphone mo, sir.
program.
Sir Gilbert.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Ayan.
Okay, na, okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, to our very active teacher education program supervisors, Dr. Quarisma and Ma'am Alvarez, code officers and members, different uh, code team member schools, other participants in this online conference. A pleasant afternoon to all of you. The task of introducing our speaker is a great privilege. I know this is difficult, but the thought that he is a man of virtue and simplicity. I feel elated to introduce him to everyone this afternoon. After all, he is a living inspiration to all. Our first speaker on this online conference to talk on the socio-economic impact on COVID-19 pandemic. If one takes a closer look at the alchemy of achieving person, two distinct virtues pop up besides perseverance and hard work. These are pioneering spirit and willingness. When asked about him, who he is may not be a surprise. After all, he had become the person he is now because of the virtues and values that were developed and nurtured in him during his education. Because he graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce major in entrepreneurship at Ateneo de Zamboanga University in the year 1991. He also finished his Master of Business Administration at the same institution in 2003. He graduated from his Doctor of Philosophy in Education at Western Mindanao State University in 2010. Our speaker today is a living idiom of a man who happened to be born at the right time and the right place, coupled with with an impressive background. And it is not therefore surprising that he became a devoted public servant. For his executive certifications, he also attended 2 months of training on Moody's Finance and Lending course in Moody's Analytic and Training Services and Harvard Leadership Acceleration Program on Innovation Strategy and Leadership in Harvard Business Education and Publishing in 2014. And the following programs under BPI University: Bank Treasury Development Course, Loan Development Course, Securities and Research Training, Unit Investment Trust Fund Course, FX Counterfeit Training, Anti-Money Laundering Training, Financial Advisory Workshop, cash management course, Oracle's CBIL, customer relationship course, and financial wellness. He was a member of Jesuit Volunteer Philippines at Ateneo de Manila University from 1991 to 1992. He also became an executive director of Ateneo Business Resource Foundation from 1992 to 1995. At present, he is a member, a board member of Investment and Incentives Board in Ciudad de Zamboanga, Vice Chairman of Board of Regents Finance Committees of Mindanao, Western Mindanao State University, a professor of MBA program of Ateneo University, and cluster head and regional manager of Corporate Banking Group Bank of the Philippine Islands. Because of his dedication to serve humanity, he unselfishly initiated and supervised professional projects such as Zamboanga City Economic Zone, Freeport Multi-Year Project, Renewable Energy Solar Project, Fishing Industry Financing Project, Karajiman Industry Financing Project, Higher Education Financing Project, second CEO and CFO Business Conference, Centro Pastoral Zambin, and first CEO and CFO Business Conference. Our speaker has a lot to share at this online conference. Therefore, without much ado, I am honored to introduce to you Dr. Mil Johan Redoble Amsid. Sir,
Dr. Miles.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for inviting me to your webinar this afternoon. Uh, before I before I begin, I would like to ask: are the participants all from higher learning
Education.
institutions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it is my pleasure to be able to present to you the socio-economic impact of COVID-19. Before I begin, I would like to ask if my audio is very clear to you.
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Uh, I will not be able to give you a live feed on how I look because I'm at home and I'm not really prepared uh, for this event, you know. But however, I did prepare hopefully a very interesting presentation for all of you this afternoon. So
Yes.
the topic that was given to me by Dr. Kalisao, who informed me that you invited me for this webinar, covers the topic of socio-economic impact of COVID-19. Before I before I start, um, I would like to inform you that the presentation I will be making covers two areas in general. Three areas in general would be the social impact, and then the economic impact, and then of course the last one will be the the societal changes that is happening right now in our country that we are all experiencing. For the social impact, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you a snapshot of the funding of the government response for COVID-19. This material came from the Office of the President, at the same time from the Department of Budget and Management. It is quite interesting to see how the government financed the COVID response. First, let us go through the number of families that were covered by the government response. The total amount that was disbursed as of May 28 is around 99.3 billion pesos, disbursed to 1 to 17.6 million families. So marami talaga ito. Now, uh, of this amount, uh, 18.3 billion were given to Pantawid beneficiaries, covering 4,222,925. Now, for non-Pantawid beneficiaries, that is 80.5 billion, totaling 13,294,444. Pag sinasabi nating non-Pantawid beneficiaries, these are people that do not belong to the poorest of the poor because the Pantawid beneficiaries belong to the poorest of the poor. And then the last portion here is 496.2 million given to 62,023. Itong sinasabi nating TNVS and PUB driver, these are taxis sa Grab, if you remember, because some of you might not be familiar, but this TNVS refers to taxis and those that operate a franchise, no? And of course, this also covers PUV drivers. Now, some of you might be curious, where did this money come from? The total amount of 96.7 billion were released from the unprogrammed appropriations and based on the certification from the Bureau of Treasury.
May, may we ask the rest of their microphone, please?
Okay? So these unprogrammed appropriations went to the small business wage subsidy measure amounting to 51 billion and to fund the supplemental funding for the health sector 45 billion 717. Itong sinasabi natin, this one that we are talking about, small business wage subsidy measure, this is the subsidy for wages given to small and medium enterprises. For example, if in your area you have a restaurant that gives a minimum wage and is reported with SSS during the last 2 months, starting March and April or even May, most of these businesses were closed. And so what happened is walang income to pay for the workers. So what the government did was provided a wage subsidy of at least 5,000 pesos per employee for those who have difficulty giving salaries to the workers. But you have to submit this requirement with a DOLE. And then of course, yung supplemental funding for health workers, ito na yung mga PPEs. Do you remember? Naging issue nga itong mga PPEs with the president kasi overpriced daw yung PPEs. Do you still remember that video link of the president defending the prices of the PPEs? Hello.
Yes, sir, we do.
Oh, okay. So that particular purchase comes from the supplemental funding for the health sector. Now, where where does the money come from? The money of 246.6 billion released from the pooled savings of to the following agencies, no? These were released for the social amelioration program of 100 million, And then of course, the social amelioration program balance, meaning hindi lahat na release yan, no? So there's a balance of 96 billion. Of course, there was also a allocation by the DILG to cities and municipalities adversely affected by the COVID-19, amounting to 30 billion 823 million. And then for Bayanihan grant for provinces, that's 6.1 billion pesos. For the DOH, there was an amount of 1.9 billion simply for RT-PCR SARS detection kits. Ito na yung mga rapid test, no? Hindi pa to yung laboratory. So that totals 246.6 billion released from pooled savings. That is why, uh, ladies and gentlemen, the government doesn't have any money anymore because uh, they got this from their pooled savings and from unprogrammed appropriations, yung hindi pa na commit na funds. Okay? Now, my next presentation to you is about the excuse me. Uh, can you see my presentation?
The 10 billion release from
Yes.
reprogramming.
Are
10
you
billion
following
release.
okay.
Yes, yes.
So the 10
Yes.
billion release from reprogramming of beneficiaries and purpose of existing programs and activities. So in the case of, let's say, Zamboanga City Economic Zone and Freeport, where I work, no, as deputy administrator right now, we have a program release of around 200 million pesos to build one four-story building and road projects for 2020. Na-reprogram na po ito at nilagay dito sa 10 billion pesos. So a lot of program projects, existing projects or activities that were supposed to be implemented in 2020, they were reprogrammed and given for COVID project assistance. Okay? So, uh, that's the impact as far as social impact is concerned, because hindi na natin i-include yung mga private sector assistance, because the private sector assistance is mostly related to the employees of the companies, no, like Ayala, BDO, SM, Jollibee. Most of these assistance were directed to specific groups. However, we are focusing here on the social impact in terms of assistance by government, because the government gave uh, uh, gave a lot of money, especially to the vulnerable sectors. No, I think some of us even receive
Groups.
assistance. At
However,
least some of
we are
our mga
focusing here
kasambahay
on
or
the
mga drivers or
social
maybe members of
impact in
families
terms of
who
assistance
are not
by
fortunate
government
enough to be
because the
working with the
government
government right
gave.
now. The only people that really do not feel any pressure are really people who are working in government. However, I will be presenting to you the economic impact, which I will show to you how bad the situation is. Before I will proceed, I would like to ask if there are any questions or any clarification lang muna regarding my presentation on the social impact before I will proceed to the economic impact.
We will have open forum, Mr. After, if there is.
Okay,
For now, they
sige.
can just jot down their
All right.
questions. Thank
Okay.
you.
So for the economic impact, I'm gonna give you the national perspective because because of the 3 month to 4 month shutdown of the Philippine economy, the Philippine economy shrunk by 4% according to Fitch. So the Philippine economy is more than uh, 3 trillion in terms of economy. So we contracted significantly 4%. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, last year we grew by around 4 to 5%. So whatever gains tayo meron last year in terms of economic growth, nabura this year. Okay? So lahat yung mga tao na nagkaroon ng trabaho or lumabas sa poverty level, balik sila sa poverty level ngayon. Now, the next presentation I will show to you that the lockdown destroyed jobs amounting to approximately 5 million Filipinos in April alone. Okay? 5 million more Filipinos were left jobless by the pandemic, and government initiated lockdowns in April. In the clearest sign of the socio-economic damage from the health crisis that saw business getting shuttered and people unemployed. And the biggest impact here, yung mga kabataan. 1 out of 6 youth is out of job. Now, my next slide, I'll show to you the Philippines job situation at a glance. This is the changes in employment, unemployment, and labor force participation by region, April 22 versus April 2019. As you can see, the the blue one, no, represents the decrease in employment, and the the more darker blue represents increase in unemployment, no? Increase in unemployment. So as you can see for the Philippines, the decrease in unemployment is around 7.991,000, and the increase in unemployment is 4,987,000. People who left the labor force on net basis is around uh, 3 million individuals. Now, lahat tayo, we belong to Zamboanga Peninsula, correct? So under Zamboanga Peninsula, if you will see, the decrease in employment is around 322,000, while the increase in unemployment is around 249. So those who left is around 72. So nationwide, it's very significant. Tayo sa Mindanao, sa Zamboanga Peninsula, maliit lang yung economy natin. But this is just at a glance, no? Because based on my conversation with the Chamber of Commerce, yung mga hotels, tourism related, wala nang trabaho ang mga tao. Yung mga retail stores, mga malls, nawala ng trabaho. They are hiring sa groceries, pero sa mga department stores wala na. May yung mga spa, no? Wala na rin yun. Almost all of the people have been laid off. So there are a lot of people who have no jobs right now. So ladies and gentlemen, you expect hunger to go up, and you will expect petty criminality to go up as well. Now, let me go to the Philippine external trade in April. The trade also plunged. Okay? Bumaba yung trade natin sa Pilipinas. Alam nyo sa Philippine Statistics Authority, yung export natin in April contracted by 50.8% because magkano yon? 2.78 billion US dollars. Okay? So, yung import naman natin, meaning hindi na tayo bumili from outside, it also plummeted by 65.3% or 3.28 billion US dollars. So, yung pagbaba ng export natin, 50%, yung pag-import naman natin, 65%. So, talagang consumption slowed down outside of the country kasi humina yung export natin. So, the consumption in the US, Japan, China, it went down kasi nag-export tayo ng products sa kanila. At the same time, yung consumption naman dito sa Pilipinas, yung mga import items na bumibili tayo, bumaba din by 65%. So talagang worldwide, the appetite of people to buy things, consumer goods, bumaba by as much as 50%. Now, remittance will fall by 10% this year. Do you know how much remittance the Philippines receives every year? Last year, we received around 32 billion US dollars. Let me repeat, 32 billion US dollars. Magkano ang decrease this year? Around 3 billion US dollars tayo bababa. Pero that is only a very conservative uh, figure because Filipinos abroad in Middle East, remember, bumaba ang presyo ng oil kasi ang demand ng oil, people are not traveling anymore. So marami din mga Pilipino pauwi na dito sa Pilipinas. Nire-repatriate na sila. So pagdating nila dito, walang trabaho din ang mga OFW. So remittance will fall by 10%. That's 3 billion US dollars. Meron pa akong nakitang report. I have also seen reports whereby the reduction is as much as 10 billion US dollars in terms of remittance. So that represents massive layoff and wage cuts around the world, according to the Institute of International Finance. So, wala na nga tayong, mahina na nga yung demand natin, yung appetite natin, wala pa tayong pera. No? Now, let me show to you the impact to our company. Sample lang ito. This is just an illustration of some of the companies that lost money. Max Group reports 169 million net income loss for the first quarter. You of course you know Max, no, because that is one of my favorite uh, chicken. I always go there once every 3 months or maybe once a month because I love their chicken. And then of course you have Jollibee post a loss of 1.8 billion. It blames the lockdown. Okay, for the first quarter, meaning January, February, March, and I think they still have a loss this second quarter. So as you can see, Jollibee, Max Group, yung mga food items bumaba. So hindi lang ito. This is not the only loss that we will see. We will see losses in schools, private schools, construction companies, hospitality industries, hotels, real estate companies. So this is really going to be a very, very huge depression. One of the worst that I have ever seen in my 49 years living in this earth. No, I have not seen this. I think this is a this is a very uh, this is a historical uh, historical event that a lot of us will remember until we die. Now, because of the significant impact brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, there is an opportunity to modify our behavior. One of the opportunities to modify our behavior because of COVID-19 is that people do not want to go to stores, do not want to go out. They refuse to go out, even if things are already open. They are afraid. So online buying is here to stay. And this is based on a joint study by Facebook and by a very big uh, advertising company called Bain and Company. This is a study that was done by consumers in Southeast Asia. And these home centric habits, even when physical distancing requirements will be lifted, they are going to stay. People will continue to stay at home. That is why we are also doing this Zoom meeting, because we are also changing our behaviors. Can you imagine yourself doing this seminar, webinar? You call this webinar now in your life? I don't think you would ever imagine. You would prefer to go to Cebu or Manila or to a hotel to do your webinar. But in the comfort of your home, wearing perhaps shorts or t shirts like me, I am able to do my seminar. And of course, you can see my picture there without actually seeing where I am and what I'm doing. Now, because of this development, companies are preparing because of the change in behavior. A case in point is the oldest insurance company in the Philippines called Insular Life. Insular Life plans to invest 500 million in digitization. It has set aside 500 million for its digitization efforts as it adapts to the changing environment and consumer behavior. Now, you look at the civil service. Most of you work with the government. Can you imagine this kind of alternative work arrangements? I don't think we were able to do this for a very long period. This is the first time we have ever done alternative work arrangements. So even the government is changing. And of course, we can have this alternative work arrangement during occasional disasters when we encounter typhoons or earthquake. But to do this in a prolonged basis, this is the first. So, what kind of alternative work arrangements? Work from home, skeleton force, 4-day compressed work week, staggered working hours, and other work arrangements that you can have approved by the civil service. And of course, if some of you are from Zamboanga, um, even our community budget store is already online. Okay, so budget wise, a community uh, uh, grocery in Zamboanga City is also online. And even before, I cannot imagine. And of course, I was already able to order online. No, they just deliver the grocery to us here in the house. Now, uh, that is my presentation. That is my presentation for the economic uh, impact on the national level, and of course, the behavior, the significant shift in behavior that our society is undergoing and that Filipinos are adapting. Before I end, I would like to inform you that tomorrow, June 20, is considered the longest day of the year. It's called the summer solstice. So June 20, tomorrow Saturday, is a very special day. It happens to be the longest day of the year. And I would like to request you, because there are so many people who are depressed due to the COVID-19. A lot of people in the US, the Philippines are depressed, committing suicide. Some of the suicides are on the boat, some at home, some are not even reported. So please, the day tomorrow will be the longest day. I would like to share to you something that you should do for your loved ones and for your friends. I want you to consider the 5 ways to express love. Each person has a primary love language. And I would like you to use whatever primary love language that you would like to use. And we can learn to speak if we want that person to feel loved, especially during the time of the pandemic, where everybody is, people are moving towards depression because wala ng trabaho, mag-isa lang sa bahay, hindi makalabas, and it's affecting them in their minds. The first language of love is the words of affirmation. This love language expresses love with words that build up other person. Verbal commitments don't have to be complicated. The shortest and the simplest phrases can be the most effective. So that's words of affirmation. Number two, you can also use the love language for the acts of service. This love language expresses itself by doing things that you know the other person would like, such as cooking a meal, doing the laundry, picking up a prescription. These are all acts of service. Or even, kung naa mo diha mga saging prito, gusto niya, o di maghimo, hataga siya, no? Si Chene man naliking kere akil mga pan de coco, o dali tamin, no? Akal mga simpleng bagay lang. Aun kanyo mabaya magkaon na uno ba ini ah basta ba
Lokot-lokot.
lokot-lokot, mabaya ka mo magkaon lokot-lokot in friend mo, dihila siya in ina nyo, dihila. Hindi no pwede kat kontrol la kaya ya saligat lokot-lokot. And then the third language of love is giving gifts. The love language thrives on the love, thoughtfulness, and effort behind the gift. The act of giving a gift tells people who care enough to think about them in advance and go out of your way to get something to make them smile. Of course, the fourth would be quality time. This love language is all about undivided attention. No televisions, no smartphones, or any other distractions. People want to be the center of your attention. And of course, the last one is physical touch. If you can give that, it's not illegal, okay? Then provide it. To people with this love language, nothing is more impactful than the physical touch of your partner. They do feel more connected and safe in a relationship by holding hands, kissing, and hugging. So, to summarize, there are five love languages: words of affirmation, acts of love, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. Each one is important and expresses love in its own way. Learning other people's and your own primary love language will help create a stronger bond in your relationship now that we have a very great socio-economic problem that we are experiencing in 2020. So thank you so much, and I hope you were able to learn something from my presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miles.
Thank
Would
you,
you be kind
sir.
enough, sir, to stay with us because Ma'am Pen Kalisa will still present her presentation. Then afterwards, we'll have an open forum. If it's all right with you, Dr. Miles.
I have I have I hope you don't mind, but I have a television show around.
Oh,
Si Dr. Kalisang knows about it. I'm not ano no, I'm not I'm not trying to ano, but really Dr. Kalisang knows I have a television show at
Yes.
IBC TV 11 every
okay. So if
so
it's okay with Ma'am Pen, if there are questions, we can entertain now before Dr. Miles will be leaving us. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am Pen? Ma'am Pen, okay lang contigo, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So do we have question from the group? You may raise your hand, you may chat your question, or you may say it orally from the group. Okay, tiyan ito tamira na FBK. Actually, we are live, Sir Miles, Dr. Miles. We are also live at FB. We have almost 300 viewers there in our FB
Nazina
page.
ba? Mira kita.
FB Live. So, kita na FB Live. And
Posa ba
then,
videos this ano?
anda lang to
Uh,
na Chedro 9. Chedro 9 page, Ched Regional Office 9 page. Pwede to
Oh,
Mira. So we are live at the moment.
live gali kita si.
See,
Okay.
see.
Ataki gali ho de berasan o yamira wow.
Wait lang, Jo. Let me check ha. I'll check first if there are questions.
Okay. From the group, don't be shy. No, we cannot. Kita-kita lang.
300 people.
Yes, yes, Ma'am Pen.
While waiting for others to bombard their question, I admire Dr. Miles so much, even when we were in the graduate school at Sumbuanga State College of Marine Sciences and Technology. I admire him so much because he is a man of wisdom, virtue,
Wow.
Oh,
character.
thank you.
Yes,
Madam niya
yes,
gana.
sir. Yes, I admire you so
Si
much.
madam niya. Mm.
Thank
Pulisaw.
you.
Dr.
Okay.
Quaresma,
So,
please ask JV
Mabilis
and the
pa.
rest of the staff if they could
Pansalang.
see some
Open
questions
forum.
from FB because
yes, yes.
I cannot see the video.
Okay,
Thank
sige,
you.
sige. Correct to Sir Miles, no? With the technology, galindigat kami anat kadego kung tiga radio announcer you can do checking online and this stuff. Cover with the unstable internet connection, so it's really a challenge for us. Uh,
De berasan si.
Coping up naman pero makarisas lang siya nebes sita per the signal. So, sir, siguro los demás shy pa gayod or baka internet lang kami di aton hindi gayod bien stable so we cannot really view for the mga questions. I think what is very interesting there, sir, is the 5 language of love that you had shown a while ago.
Sina. Okay. We have to do that kasi bien we have data about the depression, but I cannot share that anymore because that's not my topic. But we do have a mental
Mm-mm.
health. We call it a mental health crisis right now, and it's also one of.
Oh.
I think you need to cover that topic
Mm-mm.
for us as educators because we actually have there is an ongoing mental health crisis in the country right now.
Actually, sir, our next webinar will be on more on psychological. We had invited Dr. Bajin. She will
Very good.
be joining us for the next webinar. The one he's connected with Ms. Mincom, si Dr. Bajin, for psychological
Ah.
on the psychological aspect, the one you are
Katong na
suggesting.
Brian ami. Balik diri kay di man mi magwag.
Please
Na
check your
Brian.
microphone, guys. We
Mag
can hear you.
Magaw na ko ni video diri sa ada
So,
pati na sa mga
JV, siya
magapan.
kita one questions.
Interview.
So, yes, Ma'am Pen,
Si
you're raising your hand.
Yes, ma'am. I was also touched by the 5
Marawa
by
siya present din ako ngayon.
shared by Doctor. The fifth was the physical touch. Dr. Mile, I am asking your personal opinion because the fifth one is about physical touch, and I am so confused of the motorcycle issue na bawal umangkas. Yung bawal umangkas sa motor. Tapos nandiyan yung physical touch, wala ng social distancing. Doc? Doc Mile?
Yung alam mo yung back ride. I think meron ng pronouncement Dr. Kalisaw
Hindi
na
na lang siya.
pwede na raw, pwede na.
Last day na lang na siya.
Oo.
Allowed na basta mag-asawa. Yes.
Kapon may nakita na ako.
Masira bang uban nga schedule?
Guys, your microphone, please.
Hello,
Anong gapo?
ma'am. Good afternoon.
Silang na pa manimala yung mga ulahido nga na lang.
Can I ask question to Dr. Mike?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go on,
Sure.
sir.
Next week na. Kaya mawala ka na.
Uh, Good afternoon, Dr. Mile.
Yes.
Sir, I appreciate so much your presentation. I am interested because you mentioned about unemployment. Uh,
Yes.
do we have recent data with regards to how many teachers in the higher education institutions throughout the country may lose a job or maybe unemployed because of this
Okay.
pandemic?
Very good question. Uh, we don't have data yet. I still haven't found a data how many teachers will lose their jobs in the private sector because definitely government sector we are still hiring. We are
Mhm.
expected the government is expected to hire more teachers because um, there is data on the number of students that will not enroll. The Cocopea released a study projection that around 2 million students will not enroll anymore in the college. And that is a very significant amount. That is why some higher education institutions opted not to increase any tuition fees anymore.
Mhm.
But the number of teachers that will be unemployed because of the we don't have yet figures on that. But I think the impact will also be significant because I am I am in touch with some of my clients in BPI before. One Ateneo, private university are laying off contractual employees that require face-to-face work. For example, yung mga sports coaches, yung mga athletics,
Yes, yes, sir.
pinaalis
Mm.
na nila yan kasi wala nang athletics during COVID ngayon. So, a lot of contractual or temporary workers working in the athletics department have been removed. Uh, those teachers that are only temporary, part-time, they will also be removed. They will not be rehired anymore.
Mhm.
So the impact is not yet accounted for now, but the because this is enrollment, we have some data. As I told you, I shared to you around Cocopea came up with a 2 million students that will not be enrolling this year because the parents will be out of job.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that
You
will
have a
also
yes.
answer, no? Because you're right. The government, state colleges and universities, they are not affected by the crisis brought about by this pandemic. But what is affected more is the private schools, the private higher education institutions. But do you have can you give us some insights with regards to the program of the government to subsidize private higher education institutions?
Okay. Um, One of the measures that the CHED, I think, or the government is planning to do is they will be considering increases in tuition fees. No, it seems to me based on the pronouncement made by some education leaders or education officials attached with the education regulators such as CHED and DepEd. I think they will be allowing uh, a more liberal attitude in terms of increasing tuition fees. I know this is not a very popular step. However, there has been pronouncement whereby there will be more leniency in terms of allowing private schools to increase tuition fees because of the losses incurred by tuition by private schools. The situation with the private schools is is desperate because when the COVID-19 hit, they have not majority of the private schools have not yet collected their tuition fees.
Oh, yes, that's true, sir.
You see, I know this because I work with BPI before, and majority of the clients here in Zamboanga, Zamboanga del Sur, Zamboanga del Norte, I know some of the owners of the school. And the situation, as I said, the word that I use is desperate because wala pa sila makakolekta sa ilahang tuition, ang ilahang gastos sa teachers na ana.
Mm.
Okay?
Correct.
At the same time, they are having difficulty collecting because some parents are saying we did our children did not attend school,
Mm.
and if this is going to be online, it should be lower than the expense. And there are issues like, why do you still have to charge for computer fee? 'Di ba? We are not anymore using computer in the school. So there will be a lot of cost cutting and of course financial impact on the school. Now going back to the question, what other assistance the government is doing? What I know is that Land Bank of the Philippines and BBP created a loan facility for schools. So
Mm.
the private and the nice thing about the loan facility is that it is long term and the interest is very low.
Mm.
What this will allow, alam nyo anong klaseng assistance ito ng gobyerno? Kasi yung loan na yan na ibibigay nila will be long term. Why is long term good? Because remember, based sa projection ko, lugi na talaga ang eskwela for the first and second quarter. So yung
Mm.
lugi na yon, kailangan mo yon i-amortize over a period of how many years? Kasi hindi mo na yon ma-recover yung lugi na yon eh. So ang dapat mong gawin, i-installment payment mo na lang yung lugi na yon.
Mm.
So ang gagawin ng gobyerno, kung for example, ang lugi mo is around, let's just say for example, 1 million pesos. Yung 1 million pesos, i-loan mo yun sa bangko, tapos bayaran mo yon in a period of 10 years or 5 years, depending sa finances ng private school. So ang gagawin ng gobyerno, instead maging lugi ka talaga this year, spread out mo na lang yung loss mo over a period of time. Because definitely, the losses that the private school incurred cannot anymore be recovered.
Mm.
So that's the second assistance that the government is doing to liberalize the tuition fee of the private school. And for government banks like Land Bank and DBP, meron silang programa para sa mga private schools in terms of getting loan assistance to spread out the losses that they have incurred. And also, kung kailangan nila ng additional capital to retool, meron silang additional capital to retool.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that response.
Thank you, Sir Miles. We have Ma'am Noemi Daginotas. She has a question for Dr. Miles. Ma'am Noemi from GRMSU Dapitan. Hello po, Ma'am Noemi from JRMSU Dapitan. Ma'am Noemi Daginotas. Ma'am, are you there? Or si Ma'am Imelda Bubura na lang muna while waiting. Ma'am Noemi, are you there na? Ma'am Imelda Buburan is raising her hands. Yes, Ma'am. Ma'am Imelda, you were raising your hand po. Go on, Ma'am. Ma'am Imelda.
Sorry, ma'am. Just ignore that. Sorry, ma'am.
You were raising your hand kasi, Ma'am. Okay. So, how about Ma'am Noemi? Ma'am Noemi Daginotas? Yes, ma'am. Go on with your question, Ma'am Noemi.
Or
O
we
Ma'am
can read
Tina
her
lang daw
question
i-read.
instead.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The question of my mom Noemi is that she would like to know how are these love languages useful for everybody to move on despite the rising pandemic challenges, and how can we possibly apply this to pacify difficulties of people who are directly affected by COVID-19.
Well, the five languages of love is really meant for, first of all, we have to apply this with our family unit, yung family natin. Kasi we do not have social distancing issues with our family. Sometimes we tend to ignore the signs of depression, but there are a lot of signs for depression. Yung they just want to stay in their rooms, they they lack appetite. Some of them, they want to darken the room always. So all of these, there are many signs. So first of all, we have to apply this with our own individual families because a lot of people, while it is easy to know the signs because we are always busy with our lives, or tayo din may mga busy-busyhan din tayo, hindi na natin nano-notice yung problemas ng mga members of our family. So these five languages of love should be should be generously used as far as our immediate family is concerned. The second would be we should use these languages of love, especially gift giving or simple compliments or nice words, with our friends, friends and our relatives, no? Because we are online. Do you know that the signal is so bad because the demand for telecommunication is very high. A lot of people are always trying to connect with each other. So it's because a lot of people are trying to reach out to one another. So when you are reaching out to one another, use the five languages of love. Um, I myself am a beneficiary of that and also do that kasi from time to time I will receive food stuff from a friend, or if not from a relative. I also try to also give food stuff or something, no, to my friends or to some of my relatives. We have to do this because we do not know uh, if we will all be able to survive this crisis because there is still no cure for this crisis as far as I am concerned.
So I hope you, Ma'am Noemi, you are satisfied with the answer. So if there's none, because Sir Miles is also very, wala daw audio si Ma'am Noemi, kaya she's listening. Opo, thank you for your explanation daw, Sir Miles. So if there is none, kasi busy person itong si Sir Miles eh. We will be giving, sir, your certificate.
Were
Anong
you
oras ba
able
po yung...
were
Yes,
you
sir?
able to hear my my explanation kanina o wala?
Na she was able to hear, sir.
Sige. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. So if there is none, what time ba, sir, dito you kwan? Dito you sa schedule na deadline. Si
Dimi
Ma'am Dana, you
ano
have question, ma'am?
uh,
Ma'am
Oh,
Dana, are you raising your hand?
done, ma'am, done, done,
Okay.
done.
Okay. Okay. So, wala. Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Dana. May pahabol pa si Ma'am Pen? Yes, Ma'am Pen.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to announce that Dr. Miles is the deputy chair for ECOSON.
Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma'am Pen, for that.
Mm.
So, if there is none, Yes, ma'am. Sino yung nagsasalita? Ma okay. Ang hirap kasi 'pag maraming nagsasalita. So, if there is none, we would like to say muna thank you to Sir Miles because he cannot be joining us na for long until the speech of Ma'am Pen will be delivered and wait for another open forum. So, Dr. Miles, thank you so much. We have sana certificate of appreciation, certificate of recognition prepared to you, but we will just send it or send it to you to your email. Ma'am Pen, can we just have the email? Although I will just read it for you, sir. From the Commission on Higher Education and the Council of Deans for Teacher Education Program, hereby award the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Miles Johan R. Amsit for being the resource speaker during an online conference on responding to the new normal with the theme Socio-Economic and Political Issues Affecting the New Normal Education, held June 19, 2020. Given this 19th day of June to the year of the Lord 2020, Zamboanga City, Philippines, signed by our COTE President, Dr. Mario F. Alayon, and of course, no less than our regional director, Dr. Robbie P. Garcia. Thank you so much, Professor Miles. Hopefully, this won't be the last. Thank you.
So the content
Thank you,
standards
sir.
that
Thank
we
you,
have
Ma'am
are first
Joy.
outlined
My
in
pleasure.
board
Thank you so
syllabus.
much.
The proposed
Thank you, Dr. Amsid.
syllabus
Thank you.
has to be
So, without much ado, let's
of
have
the new
now
students.
Dr. Dana
Because
for
that
the
gathers
introduction of our
intelligence
second
out of the
speaker.
conversation that we
Please,
with our
please
students,
po, yung mga
out of the
cellphone
observations
natin,
that we have with
please.
our students.
My gosh, kanino po yung phone? Okay. Ma'am Dana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po.
Our second speaker was a woman of action. He is a student leader at Zamboanga Arturo Eustaquio College since high school and college. She aspired to be like her uncle as the Philippine ambassador to Australia. She planned to enroll BS Foreign Affairs, but was phased out at WEMSU. So she graduated the course Bachelor of Arts in Political Science in 1983 at Zamboanga Arturo Eustaquio College, and then took up Bachelor of Secondary Education and passed the licensure examination even without review. She was a psych scholar for MA in Political Science in UP and UST and graduated in 1991. Finished her Doctor of Education at the same university with a dissertation entitled The Inclusion of the Civil Service Law to Graduate Curriculum, and continue her advanced study and enrolled PhD in Education at San Carlos, Cebu City in 1996 to 2000 through PAPI Scholarship. She was awarded as the most outstanding faculty in 2004. Her present and past positions includes in 2004, she was a director for research, planning, and development at Zamboanga Arturo Eustaquio College. Also, an international organization for standardization auditor. She is also a CHED ARCOT member, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of Education in HIMJ College Incorporated in 2009. Director for Media Affairs in Zamboanga State College of Marine Sciences and Technology in 2012. College Consultant of Western Mindanao Foundation College. Dean, College of Education and Natural Science in 2017 to January 2019. The Vice President for Region 9, chaired Council of Deans and Teacher Education from 2017 up to the present. She is also a research consultant. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming our second speaker who will talk on political and socio-economic Philippine scenario, implication to the new normal. Dr. Penelope Garcia Culisao.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yes, go on, Ma'am Pen.
Okay, thank you.
Si Ma'am Pen.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, na siya. Can you see now, ma'am, my presentation now? Is it okay?
Share video ka, Ma'am. Parang we can see you pa po. We can see you. You have to share video. Share screen. Share screen po. You have to press the share screen and then para we can see your PowerPoint presentation, ma'am.
Okay na po. Is it okay
Yeah,
now?
you're sharing now. Double click to enter full screen. Yes po. You are loading your screen po. Yan na po. Okay na, Ma'am Pen.
Okay. So, good afternoon. I'll be discussing the political and socio-economic Philippine scenario, implications to the new normal education. So I'm very interested with this because as an MA Political Science major, I would always connect politics with education, and politics can never be eradicated in the academy. And if I am to discuss on the rationale and objectives, this is what I have to say. Politics and education enjoy a symbiotic relationship. It is closely related. Education, therefore, may affect the shared, cooperative, and communal wisdom goals. When we say shared, because politics, since time immemorial, has been there, even from the earliest time of humanity, nandyan na po ang politics. So you could just imagine that when the rabbi, from the Greeks, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, nandyan na po ang politics with education. That's the reason why it is
Sorry
being...
to butt in po. Can you make it a PowerPoint presentation kasi yung iba, they cannot really clearly see po. Is it okay po?
Naka-PowerPoint na po.
You press yung parang, ano ba yung jar? Parang jar sa taas. Para it will show
Slideshow,
one
ma'am.
slideshow. Yung slideshow nyo, ma'am. Ito
yes,
sa taas, ma'am. Ayan. Yan, ma'am.
Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Go on, ma'am. Sorry for bothering.
So again, I would reiterate that politics has been there, and it has been said that politics is the dirtiest game in town. Noon pa yan, kahit time pa yan ni Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. And you would always see that education, if education is not there, politics is not there. So the effect of the shared cooperative, because even from the time of the sultan, the barangay, the existence of men, nandiyan na po yan. And it is a communal wisdom because it starts with a society. And according to Plato, both Plato and Aristotle have combined that wisdom is equals knowledge plus virtue. So we always equate wisdom with the ability to do things in its just and humane way. So it's always wisdom. Because when you use your intellect in the bad way, definitely it is not wisdom. So we use the information, all the things that we know about the world, we combine that with attitude, it is now wisdom goals. And the values of politics will always be there because you will notice that part of politics is the way the society is educated. It always answers the questions when when the graduate or the graduates will be on their workplace, it will always define and they should know who are the governed and the governed are the constituent, the populace, while the leaders are those who are on the top management. Whether the position is president, by vice president, it speaks about the structure. So, and how the government works is already the system. So, still, that is part. Okay. Uh, Part of the rationale. So, I have given the scenario. So, it includes persuasion and convincing power of those leaders on top. So, the top management, even in the academe, must always consider laws considered a just, fair, reasonable laws. Because if not, it will be a topsy-turvy. The management per se will collapse. And that is very clear in the Philippine Constitution. It will represent the state, regulate, promulgate, establish, and it all uh, it all boils out to the educational institution where we are. Okay. If we are to start with PESEL, political factors, economic factors, social factors, technological factors, legal factors, and environmental, we just limit it to the socio-economic because I do not want to touch on legal, environmental, and technological because based on the conference theme, it's only on the socio-economic and how it influence and its implication to the would-be new normal life. Okay. So this is the PESEL mode. Uh, it says there that political factors are influenced by the government decisions, taxes, infrastructure, public service, and the like, and it's both local and national. And it may have a connection on interdependency when it comes to the global world. So what about economic factors? Why is this very important to the academy? Economic mark Economic factors would always pertains to market growth. Even not only in the entire Philippines, but even in the academy, I would always compare it and put things in the academic world. Those are the factors which are very, very much important because the academic institution is, whether it is public or private schools, is definitely a business entity. So let's go to the social factors. The social factors would always be pertaining on demography, the social changes, the culture of one community to another, and the local leadership per se. So again, I will only touch on the three aspects. Okay, let me go on to target objectives. Are you following, guys?
Yes, Ma'am Pen, we are.
The target objectives of this discussion of my topic is to present the political, socio-economic before lockdown and the situational and Philippine challenges amidst the pandemic. Number two, we have to scrutinize the government actions which were implemented to ease the problems on economics, socio, and political issues. And the third is to determine and relate the implications of all these three issues to the Philippine new normal education. Okay. Before I will present, I will refer you to the very interesting. I just got it into YouTube, but I will not have it sa ano lahat. Sa I will not finish the ano the YouTube. It's a foreigner's perception about life in the Philippines. Sandali lang na. Kay hindi pa tayo stop. Ayan. Present director. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Makita kayo. Okay, I am showing you a video. Makita na.
You stop first this one, ma'am, and then share the other one. Ma'am Pen, stop niyo muna itong PowerPoint presentation.
Ako. Sorry. Okay. Okay na po.
Wala pa, ma'am.
Wala po. Sandali po. Ayan ang mahirap sa technology. Diyan ka lang, ha? I have someone assisting me. My beautiful daughter. Okay, I would like to show you the perception of a foreigner.
But it's not for the reason many foreigners visit, which is to hit up the beaches and have a nice vacation. Instead, I wanted to get a glimpse of the everyday lives of Filipinos. Finally, many locals offered to tour me around, and I experienced so much, from the multitude of shops in the Victoria Market to the incredible commute to Manila, to escaping the city and heading out to the provinces. Before I get into it, I'd like to remind you that I'm just a person that went to the Philippines for 11 days. While I met with many different locals and did a bit of research, what I present is only my experience and taken from the perspective of someone who has lived in Canada and Japan. I'm going to start my trip with my number one worry, which was safety. Despite looking Filipino to some, I am in fact not Filipino, but I figured with my 5'4" height, okay, 5'3.5", that my short stature, black hair, and tan complexion would enable me to blend in a bit better than your average Westerner. Why was I worried about safety? Because countless Filipinos told me to watch out for scammers and pickpockets. And the first thing to watch out for was taxi drivers, so I installed Grab. Fun fact, Uber used to be in the Philippines, but they decided to exit the Southeast Asian market and move to Grab. But in exchange, they own part of Grab, so in a sense, they're still here. Now, Grab seemed good, but the sign up for the Grab booth at the airport did not. I was kind of confused because I thought the app was supposed to negate having to line up. So I was conflicted because the Japanese resident part of me said, respect the line. But on the other hand, I had been waiting for 15 minutes without much movement. So I did something bold and decided to actually use the app. What do you know? The driver came and I was safely riding on my way to my Airbnb. I had asked my Grab driver if it was okay to film outside the window while driving, and while on the highway, he let me do this. But when we got into the streets, he was eager to get the window closed, as he said you never know who might pop by and snatch my camera. Now, the Airbnb was a private residence in a condo tower on the edge of Makati, so like many of these places, there were security guards. Gun checkpoints weren't making me feel safer. Interestingly, most security guards are required to carry guns. I've heard the word security theater tossed around, and if you haven't heard that word before, it's used to describe a situation where it feels like security is keeping you safe, but in fact, they're really not. On numerous occasions, I was let through without any intervention. I didn't hide anything dangerous in my camera bag, but if I had, not one of the security guards would have found anything. And then there were places where one entrance was guarded, but each entrance was not. There were also times where I just negotiated my way through things. If you walk the walk or talk the talk, you can be given a pass. So I don't know. I've got to believe that most Filipinos know that these guards aren't doing much in terms of security, but perhaps they've been part of the landscape so long that they've become accustomed to it. And hey, maybe they are deterring some types of crimes with their presence. I don't know.
Okay po, narinig niya po.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was just so inspired watching this, although that was already a year ago, but that was before lockdown, how a foreigner perceived life in the Philippines. There are positive and there are also negative, but I felt like I was with him. Parang ako yung nobya. I feel that Philippines is very, very rich actually. So we are very lucky to have the Philippines and should love the Philippines regardless of what's happening right now. So I have to continue now. Thank you. Okay, so that was the life in the Philippines before lockdown. Okay. So let me continue by defining the following factors. The following factors. Biglang sumingit siya. Okay, so we have said that these are the things that I am supposed to discuss. The socio-economic factors, the economic factors, this include growth again, inflation rate and interest rates, and the political factors that would eventually talk about on policy formulation, public funding, and subsidies in schools, the local politics, and the leadership strategic management plan by the academic leaders and curriculum planners. So the Philippine scenario before the pandemic. So I just had it bulleted, the Filipino income level. You know, the thing very positive is that when it comes to the last year's uh, data, it has been said that the Filipino income level was quite average, only very few belong to the rich. Although there are those who are very poor, but actually you feel you are poor based on the basic necessities that will make you feel poor. Ako nga, kahit hindi ako mayaman, but when I am contented of what I have, kung ano yung meron ako, therefore, I am rich. So, ganyan lang yan. So, parents' level of education. 2 years ago, it has been said that parents' level of education has improved, and some have even trainings, and others, even they are old, were even going to school. In fact, we also have our own students who are security guards at night na nag-aaral sa atin hanggang sa matapos, then to be dreaming of a future in their own ways and means. Okay, so the gender, LGBT, and all God issues, including their rights and obligations, are always there. The free education is also a scenario before pandemic, and you will notice that all influence the quality and availability of education, and this pertains on the CHED scholarship grants which were in place, including the graduate school program, both national and in the international. So, most especially in the ASEAN, ang dami. Kahit ngayon, may pandemic pa rin, meron pa rin. So, we have to avail online na po. So, we would like to congratulate CHED for giving us still the CHED scholarship grants for the students. Okay. For education, education has improved our Philippine scenario because of life has been very meaningful, that everyone was able to dream, aspire of something, and the essence of employability has been enhanced based on the different triology of TESDA, CHED, and DepEd. So they are three joining as one so that education will be uplifted so that the life of Filipinos will also be better. Now let's go to the three significance of why politics is relevant to education. And this is well stipulated in the Philippine Constitution, some portion. Okay. Number one, we need politics and it is relative to education because as mentioned by Dr. Miles, it is education for citizenship, liberal education, and all those things comes from the educational, philosophical, and ethical concept of governance. Okay. Number one, let me go back to education for citizenship. Um, 7 years ago, I always have I am a columnist of Zamboanga Times, and I always have an article on education through citizenship or citizenship through education. So I love writing articles, although I'm not that good as a grammarian, but when it comes to the content, I, I can speak what's in my heart and what's in here. So I always share those things, which is part of what is really existing. So, ano ba talaga the faculty members from the from the instructor one going up, including the academe, the top management, the VPs, the president, has a primordial goal, gigantic role in educating the youth, lalo na sa hirap ng buhay ngayon. So, sa dami ng nagsuicide, hindi lang mga estudyante, pati parents, napakahirap. And last night, when I was doing my PowerPoint, I saw sa GMA rin yung mga DepEd teachers na they cross talaga yung mountains, yung mga rivers, just to connect and get signals where there are negative uh, negative implication and there are positive. But actually, every negative issues will always be commensurated to positive para lang po tayo sumaya. Wag lagi tayong negativism. Ako, naalis ko na yan. I do not know because this pandemic, thank you Lord, favors me so much. That being a cancer patient for 16 years now, mas masarap ang buhay ko po ngayon. I can share things, I can testify, and it's all because of God. And thank you that I am, my role as a teacher is really there, insinuating democratic citizenship. Number two, politics when you relate to education is a part of liberal education. Okay, so it insinuates that you have the intelligence and students must be responsible citizens and can save democracy at their very young age. You'll notice that students within the classroom setting must always be trained to be authentic, responsible, sensitive, productive citizens who can contribute for the nation building. And definitely, it has been said that the youth is the hope of the motherland. So, dapat nandyan yan palagi. Hindi na yung we pollute the youth with so many things. Because that would be an ignorance and a negligence on our role as educators. Number three, significance of politics to education is that going back to the Greek from the ancient time to the modern time, whether it is science, politics, philosophy, and all kinds of social sciences, it always goes back to the educational, philosophical, and ethical concept. Even from the start of, if you remember the book Beyond Freedom and Dignity by B.F. Skinner, it really boils out to give governance, how governance from the ancient to the modern times exists, and what is the essence of those things and the conceptualization of the real world, the divine world versus the earthly world. And that is an ethical concept. So it's governance. Okay. The knowledge and understanding of how government operates is very much important for not only for students but for all of us as educators. Our rights and obligation and what we stand for. Nandun pa rin ang ating academic freedom, but then it should always be with the law. We don't violate the law. Thank you. Okay, let me discuss the Philippine scenario and its challenges again amidst the pandemic now. Kanina yung before, ngayon during. Okay, the Bayanihan Act. We have the Philippine healthcare system, the real role of frontliners, the survival of the fittest and the elimination of the unfit. Number 5, elitism, middle class and the working class. Number 6, realism versus idealism on peace and harmony. And where are we now, Filipinos? Hanggang saan ba talaga tayo tatagal? Lahat tayo, we want to survive. Ayon ang pinaka-main objective natin ngayon. Let's be all relaxed with all the policies and all those things that we should be considerate. Okay. Okay, the Bayanihan Act. Okay, the Bayanihan Act. I don't need to read between the lines. You'll notice that that is a very, very important act which allows us to allocate things in its proper place, not only monetary, including our strategy in combating the pandemic. It goes with all the branches of LGUs from the local, national, and how we connect our status fighting the COVID-19 and comparing it to the international world. So from the small budget to the biggest budget, how the government was able to raise the money, distribute it from the central to the local, that's empowerment, has been placed in order. Although we cannot say that there will be no critics. Meron pa rin syempre, I'm not pro or anti, I always see things neutral. So as a political analyst, I would say that as of now, kahit paano, we are on our right track. We cannot convince everyone. So let's just hope and pray na talagang Bayanihan Act talaga siya. Magtutulungan tayo, wala tayong siraan. Ayan ang importante. And I even composed a song last May 8 and shared it sa Facebook on COVID kakayanin. Okay, it was in a sound of lowness, yung kaya no. And I sang that, and it was very, very funny because the song itself is my story about how I started the COVID-19 lockdown. Okay. It was very amazing and it was very meaningful when I composed that song, including all the stanzas. It was really the scenario of the Philippine pandemic. Okay, let us go to number 2, the Philippine healthcare system. Kahit hindi natin masabi, halatang halata na. Just like in Zamboanga pa lang, malalaman natin na talagang kulang tayo sa hospitals, we lack the facilities, but still our government, including our local officials, are doing a lot of things, including the DOH. Nandiyan, nagtutulungan lahat tayo, and I don't need to elaborate on all their functions and systems. Meron mang na-delay na facilities, abroad ba, may anomalya ba, o ano, it's all there. All things have been investigated, and all things will be there. Ang importante, merong nasisave na buhay. Wala namang sigurong gusto lahat mamatay. Even yung pamilya mo, and it's very, very desperate to be in the shoes of, to empathize someone na maririnig mo na lang na yung pamilya doon na nilibing na lang na walang nakiramay. Napakasakit yan. Napakasakit. And I believe that DOH and our Philippine health system, care system is having an opportunity to serve. Ayun ang importante. Sabi ni Dr. Miles on the love, the act of service. Yung intention mong tumulong, whether you are mahirap o mayaman. Okay, next. Okay, I just took the facility. This is from the OH website, and I don't need to elaborate all these things because these things would insinuate that from the data itself, talagang ano pa tayo, medyo may kulang-kulang pa tayo. Hindi, we cannot suffice. We cannot suffice all those things with the Philippine budget dahil nga sa bumaba ang ating economy. Okay. So these are the programs made by DOH. Okay, there are national objectives for health, universal health care. Na in our Philippine health system is always with the umbrella Universal Act. Okay, and the doctor. This is a program. The doctor is there for a program to advertise the roles, the function of DOH, and so forth and so on, including listening to the voice of those who are really in need, whether they have assisted financially or in kind. So thank you for AITF. Okay. Okay. Number 3 is the real role of frontliners. Okay. Baby. Okay. So I was also interested. This was just a month ago. I would just like to share you another video of the real role of a Filipino frontliners. Ayan.
Challenge namin is the fear of the virus because we didn't even know or didn't see the virus. So, hindi namin alam those people na nakakalubulo namin and all the patients kung sino doon ang positive or negative.
One of the biggest problem na na-encounter ko ngayon as frontliner is safety of myself and safety of my family. Because yung battle na to is it's hard for us to fight this battle because yung kalaban namin is hindi namin nakikita. Mahirap din po yung acceptance ng mga tao. Yung
stigma ng tao. Sa amin, na mga frontliners na akala po nila, kami ay carrier of the virus or kami ang living virus. This is not just a profession, but an occasion. So parang ito na po yung calling mo to be part of this pandemic and somehow change the stigma, change the attitude of other people towards us. Yung warning on our part na meron kaming taong natutulungan, meron kaming taong na extend yung buhay because we treated them and they are very thankful for us. So kahit sa video lang, ang nag-country namin, sana maintindihan nyo ng tao. So we always give please to ourselves na hindi namin makikita ang namin. Just to perform everything, to find all these challenges. Whenever may mag-discharge akong pasyente, sinasabi ko sa kanila, uy, buti ka pa makakauwi ka na, mamimit na yung family mo. Parang sa sarili ko, gusto mong sabihin, uy, siya makakauwi na, ako nakakauwi. Parang, ilang times na gano'n, gusto ko din makita yung mga patients natin at gusto ko maging hands-on. Kaya kahit na risky and even if I'm faced with different risks and endangered my life, langgam ko lang sa sarili ko na ito talaga. Kung ito lang po talaga ang tip na career or ng buhay ko, to be it na natin po sa ganang purpose natin. That passion. Na kailangan makatulong ako sa society. And ang motto namin is, walang iwanan. Fight for all.
Okay, let me continue my lesson. So, all those videos has been...
Okay, class, who would like to do problem 3 on the board? Please don't be me. I know, Miss I.
So, next. So, I was really touched. With kanina ko lang yun nakita sa video. So, nahirapan lang ako. So, I slept for 2:30 a.m. kagabi dahil I prepare my own presentation. I don't allow somebody to prepare it for me because I would like to learn. Now, on my second target objective is how the government actions has been implemented to solve all the problems both in socio-economic issues about our COVID-19. So you'll notice that both the national government and local government kay may anomalya man sa isang ganon, at least we meet at one end of trying to help one another in order for us to follow the rules, to have those health protocols, to really stay safe, save money, and we meet in a very strategic place where all of us are with mask, alcohol, and we prepare everything so that we'll not be contaminated with the virus. So I believe that from the national down to the local, we work with the Bayanihan spirit. Yes, this has been discussed by Dr. Miles with the social amelioration program, which differed from one local government units to another. And in the television, we may see that meron talagang city na ang bilis, meron naman mabagal, meron na delay, ang giving of financial assistance kay first or coming second crunch na. So at least the DSWD in action, including the DOLE, including the DOH, and all other initiative by the government has been there to help Filipinos by all means and in all angles. Naghahanap talaga ang gobyerno kung saan pa kukunin ang budget na ipamamahagi so that everybody could be safe, so everybody could live life normally in this abnormal stage. Okay. So, napakahirap. Okay, so you'll notice that this has been discussed also by Dr. Miles. Ang dami-dami nating nagawa. Kung meron man anomalya again, so those things are for investigation. I don't think the government will just stay silent. Nandyan yan. Merong may mga taong in charge for that, and I don't want to discuss those things legally, although politics is with those terms already. Okay. The government response to COVID-19, reactive years of neglect, weakened healthcare system. This was a study. I also included this as part of my discussion na nakuha ko lang kanina. So it has been said from the study that the Philippine government's response to the coronavirus disease pandemic has been reactive, ad hoc, and inadequate, exposing the deeply rooted problems in the country's public healthcare system, weakened by deliberate policy choices, fiscal priorities, and institutional design in favor of privatization throughout the decades. This is actually from University of the Philippines lecturer. So I was so interested to place it there because whether it is negative or positive, we are all informed. We have all those things to react. So thank you for all these things. Next, I am now on my third topic, on my third targets. My target is to determine and relate the implications of the things that I have discussed on political, socio-economic issues now to the new Philippine normal education. Okay, let me discuss first the two key points to ponder for fairness in the academic endeavor. Okay, so this has been very important because we must always see to it that justice and fairness, even in NJEC 8 ethics, is always there. So we see, okay, we see social justice approach and the modern time of market justice. So from the definition itself, I might even ask you, kailan nyo ba sinasabi that there is social justice? When they say that justice is right and just. Sa Tagalog, I always share this to my students when I discuss NJEC 8. Kailan ba talaga sinasabi that justice is right and just? So, sasabihin pa nila, ano ang justice? So, katarungan. Tama at karapat dapat. When justice, okay, social justice pertains with your status, how you're treated in society, in the classroom, your relationship, student teachers, the admin, faculty, and so forth and so on. So, and in the social justice approach, it says there that education is controlled solely by the state. And that is a privatization. Okay. But there were times that has been practiced long time ago. Okay. Now market justice approach is the people are free to choose their own how they are to be educated. and it reflects the essence of education. So you'll notice that in times of pandemic now, this market justice approach is a realistic point of view because as what Mr. Dr. Miles said, ilang milyon yung hindi papasok ngayon. So you could just imagine that still the decision lies with the parents. Ako, as a teacher, as an educator, syempre as a parent, my husband is also an educator. We would really make it sure that our the safety of our children. And I believe that the SOCs and other private schools and universities are doing their strategic planning on how to combat this pandemic. Lahat tayo merong roles. Okay. This is also, I would like to share you also this uh, research on the challenges and opportunities for higher education amid the COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippine context. This is written, published by Cathy May Togero of the Mindanao State University, General Santos City. And this is the highlights of her research. It says there that COVID-19 affected higher education institutions not just in China, but in almost 180 countries of 180 countries since April. And still, in addition, marami pa. Not only dito sa Asian, but worldwide. Educational measures are taken to continue educating the student COVID predicaments. So we have several webinars already and trainings on flexible modalities, and we should be prepared for our um, learning management system. And I will discuss that later on. And as recommended, there should be more research on this type accordingly, whether to produce studies and to justify that the educational system is still do not compromise quality education. Nandyan yan. Kasi lahat ng universities and colleges, lalo na yung mga ISO certified, CHED accredited institutions are still there. Saan? Saan? Where are we now? Our vision, mission, and goals will always be crafted again based on the new normal na. Mag-iiba ng konti. Lahat. Next, it has been recommended that higher education must strengthen the practices in the curriculum and make it more responsive to the learning needs of the students even behind the conventional classroom. So again, we have to take into consideration what Dr. Rodi Garcia said, that with all those memo passed by the CHED Region 9, it is advised that we have to follow the PSG and the template being endorsed by the CHED Region 9, and we eventually craft our vision mission there, still following the CHED memo and regulation, especially now in the new policy programs requiring us to submit all those requirements on the learning continuity plan. Okay. Let us first stop and think. I'll give you about 5 seconds or 5 minutes to try to instill all these questions, although they are very simple, but try to think of your rules. Saan kayo dyan?
Mga 5 seconds lang, ma'am.
5 minutes. There are 6 questions. I ask you to stop and think para ano tayo. Yung iba naman na-answer na dyan. Yung iba on the process na.
Ma'am Pen, pasensya to, mama. Can we go a little fast lang, ma'am? Kaya baka 4:30 man kat el kuryente aki, ma'am. Kaya takong po ni transformer.
Sorry, almost. We are here na, ma'am. Almost tapos.
Okay, thank you. Pasensya ya, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Kasi kala ko I'm very fast. So we have the political factors affecting education. So those things are there. We have the factors influencing education. Both may have positive and negative effects on all the actors. When you say political actors, those are the managers on top of the academic institution, while those students are the moral agents in ethics. Okay, we have number 2, the public funding. All schools have it already in advance on the release of the 2020 budget, and the schools and the private schools are subsidized hopefully. The local politics, ayan ang minsan mayroon ding konting ano dyan, merong konting issue that the local government is in support, but there are times there are negativism, there are still positivism. Unahin natin yun. And naturally, globalization. Globalization is the mobility across from transferring goods, commodities, and services to people from local, national, or it may be international. So napakahirap, and the Pinoys have their own very stories to tell. So I got this kagabi because I was touched with the international and globalization. So nakita nyo rin sa GMA last time, tapos na ma'am, last time na yung mga Pilipino natin na nag-aral pa sa London State, sa mga big schools in abroad, naging ano na lang sila, delivery boy, yung iba. So, it was a degrading career already. Yung iba, nag-barbecue na lang. And I was touched by this sa America that many doctoral students today are tending to fall into one of two disturbing categories, either an academic technician or justice warrior. That was from David Lavery. That was just yesterday. So, muchísimas gracias. Okay na po, Mama.
Thank you, Ma'am Pen, for the sharing that you have given us this afternoon. So at this point, we will go a little faster lang. So we are open now for questions, insights from the group. Pwede to one stop sharing, Ma'am Pen, para we can share the...
Ding!
Yes,
Mag-stop mo, ma'am? Ang PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
Stop na daw. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if there are questions, you can raise your hand or you can type your question so that we can address it directly to Ma'am Pen.
I'm on time. 1 hour.
Yes, Ma'am Pen. Thank you so much. Worried lang kami, Ma'am, kayo baka ma-brownout ka namon, Aki, Ma'am.
Really so good.
Doc Mario, you have some questions, Doc Mar. We would like to acknowledge Ma'am Jacinta Tan, who's joining now, and also Dr. Jaime Halon, the president of Zamboanga State College of Marine Sciences and Technology. Thank you, sir. And the rest of the deans who are with us this afternoon, thank you so much for staying until this time. Kate, siya ito 5 question, Katie. Pwede tumira.
No, I manjo na FB kasi I cannot see the video earlier pa.
Hindi na agad kasi daton signal.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Pen. We are checking on some questions si Chene ba, ma'am, Tan raise hand para we can address.
Hello.
Si Dr. Nobida, ma'am, has a
Yes,
question.
yes, ma'am Noblida. Yes, sorry.
Good
Go on,
afternoon.
ma'am.
A while ago, you cited si Ma'am, no? Ma'am Kulisaw.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Pen.
An item on free education, which includes the help extended by the government for about 2 years now, offered through CHED. The government offered scholarship grant, particularly to college students. A very attractive and encouraging scholarship grant known as UniFast, in addition to the other existing scholarship grants. But unfortunately, these grants will not anymore cater to students effective 2020-2021. Now, obviously, the discontinuance of this grant would result in stopping of many financially handicapped students, which would also mean great loss on the part of the private schools. My question is, are there no other possible remedial measures the government can offer or resort to help college students pursue their studies and achieve their dreams?
As far as I know, if I could still remember the speech of Dr. Rudy, if I get it right, I believe that the government has loan, granting some loans where the students can give be given loans, but it should always be controlled by the university or by the school per se with the scholarship division office of the said school. Parang it's still on the process yata. And I think Dr. Quaresma will be very sure to answer that.
Yes, ma'am. No. Actually, Ma'am Novida, good afternoon. Actually, yung Unifast po, it is not stop. We didn't stop the Unifast. Actually, what is at the moment on hold lang, hindi naman nag-stop, is the incoming scholarship for 2020-2021 because the government used our fund for the moment. But hold lang siya until we will be able to recuperate from our financial constraint, no? With all the financial. But for the Unipass, ma'am, we continue. May mga guidelines tayo na pina-follow. Of course, you have to liquidate, you have to coordinate with our Unipass personnel so that you'd be able to receive the grants if you're already a recipient of that.
That's it, ma'am. That's why I said it will not anymore cater to students effective 2020-2021.
Yes, ma'am. The regular program, ma'am, but not the Unifast because Unifast is a separate program of the regular scholarship program of the commission.
And so discontinuance, or because it will not anymore cater to students effective 2020-2021, that would mean stopping of many students. That would add to the millions that Dr. Miles said a while ago.
Expected.
And also unemployment of teachers because we will have fewer students. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That has been expected.
Thank you. Ma'am Tan, baka you'd like to share more on it, ma'am? As addition to what I said.
That's correct. For the moment, only the incoming first year are on hold due to the funding that they have utilized intendedly for the COVID-19, expenses. But somehow, the government is trying their best in the event if they will probably come up with another batch for scholarships. Definitely, this will be included. So for the moment, they're as much as possible. Anyway, SUC, government schools, local colleges, still they will still enjoy the free educations and free tuition fees as well as their TOS. Okay.
Thank you, Ma'am
My,
Tan.
am I clear, Jo?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are very loud this time,
Oh,
ma'am.
yeah, kasi it's a heavy rain that experiencing here in Sangali.
Yes, ma'am. Ah,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Ma'am Tan. So, are there
Okay.
any more questions from the group? Are there still more questions from the group? So, I believe if there's none, then we would like also to appreciate the participation of Dr. Pen to sharing her insights on the socio-economic and political issues affecting the new normal education. No one is certain as to what's going to happen next, but we learn as one, and helping one another will be the very best commitment that we can give to each one. So, Ma'am Pen, thank you for your time and your expertise sharing with us this afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Pen.
We will also send you, Ma'am, the certificate signed by Dr. Mario and Dr. Rodi P. Garcia. We'll send it to your email.
Salamat po.
Thank you, Ma'am Pen. So, Ma'am Kay now will give us a recap. Then afterwards, to be followed by the closing remarks of Dr. Tan. Then we'll have photo ops. So please stay. Kay.
Okay, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Kay.
Okay, good afternoon. So our webinar started with a prayer, which unfortunately is soundless to our participants, but not from my end. Okay, so sorry for that. Then Dr. Alayon gave the statement of purpose, and then Dr. Celestia introduced our first resource person who has attended several trainings in the country as well as outside the Philippines. Dr. Amsid is a professor of ADSU and the regional manager of BPI and the deputy administrator planning and operations of the ecozone. So Dr. Amsid shared with us the social and economic impact of COVID-19. As to the social impact, the government responded to COVID-19 through fundings released from various funding sources such as from unprogrammed appropriations, pooled savings, which funded the social amelioration program, Bayanihan Grant for cities and provinces, and for the rapid test kits. So reprogramming of beneficiaries and purpose of existing programs and activities and projects also the funds also came from such. So for the economic impact on the national perspective, the lockdowns destroyed jobs of Filipinos, 5 million Filipinos just in April, and the biggest impact is on our youth. There are income losses. Several companies post losses like Maxis and Jollibee, which are the examples given by Dr. Ansid. Also presented was the Philippine job scenario at a glance, which displayed the regional distribution of job losses in April 2020 in comparison to April of the previous year, as well as the decrease of employment and the increase of unemployment. So the pandemic likewise is likewise the culprit of the 10% drop of remittances of OFWs, massive layoffs, and wage cut around the world. However, what's good about what's happening, there's also an opportunity for us to modify our behavior. The habit developed during the pandemic will go on even after the pandemic. So what we have learned to adapt certain behavior can most probably will remain in us. So with the current scenario, corporations, companies prepare for digitization, and other stores even go online. Okay. So Dr. MC did not only share the social and economic impacts of COVID-19, but he also shared the 5 ways to express love or the 5 love languages. So, accordingly, learning our own love language and of other people will help create a relationship where we can express love and make others feel loved and valued in this time of the pandemic where mental health is of utmost importance or of utmost concern. So, an open forum followed after the sharing of Dr. Amsid and Dr. Dana introduced Dr. Penelope Colisao, our second resource person, who is the Council of Dean for Teacher Education Vice President. Dr. Colisao shared the Philippine political and socio-economic scenario and its implication to the new normal. So, politics accordingly cannot be eradicated in the academic arena since they are very much closely related. The impact of politics is especially on the decisions of the government that impact the local community, national and international. Economic factors also affect the schools, especially that private HEIs are business entities as well. Dr. Colisao also shared videos, uh, perspective of a foreigner of the Philippine life or living in the Philippines. And then she also shared a video of the roles and I would say sacrifices of our frontliners. And then she shared also about social factors such as demographics, social changes, and the like. The significance of why politics is relative to education. Also, Dr. Colisao posed challenging questions that, because of time constraint, she discussed and presented political factors affecting the education during the new normal. Indeed, the pandemic poses multitude of challenges, and our webinar today, through our invited resource persons, share with us the scenario of the impact of the COVID-19. So this is our way of letting everybody know that we are really together and one to face this pandemic. So my gratitude to Dr. Kalisa for the sharing and also to Dr. Ansid. Thank you.
Hello kay Claro. So may we have now Dr. Jacinta Tan to give us a closing message, ma'am.
Okay, hello, good afternoon to each and everyone. It's a rainy day, but I'm so happy to see that there are around almost 60 participants to this conference that we have sponsored by the CHED in coordination with the Council of Deans for Teacher Education. So at the outset, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the officers and members of this Council of Deans for Teacher Education, as well as our active education supervisors for teacher education, Dr. Joan Quaresma and Dr. Uh, Claire Alvarez. So I'm so happy for them because they are so active to really give what is due to our officers and members of the Council of Deans. So despite of this COVID-19, we know for a fact that our educational system must not have delayed just purposely that we have this kind of crisis. So also I would like to give my admiration to the expertise of the two speakers that we have this afternoon, si Dr. Miles Amsid, who is connected with Ateneo de Zamboanga and the Bank of the Philippine Islands. I know his expertise as a person has a very good knowledge in all of these things, has a good foundations for the social, economic issues that will affect or that has affected our new normal. And also, of course, Dr. Penelope Garcia Colisao, for sharing her expertise. It was very informative as I have heard the recap of Ma'am Claire. I'm so happy that at least you were able to inculcate and share your expertise that will open up the mind of all these officers and members of our teacher education program. I know we have to adapt the new normal development and move on what we can do to normalize this uncertainty that we're facing right now. It's not an easy task actually for this adjustment to go with the implementation as with this flexible learning that we are facing right now. It will double up our work, which we didn't experience before, but certainly this time, a lot of requirements needed for you to submit at the CHED regional office, as well as what is due to our students. We have to give the best for them, that it will not affect the quality of educations, and at the same time, they will still develop what are the skills and competencies needed for the programs they are in. Now, whatever changes that we have, we especially in the mode of delivery of teaching and learning, following all the protocols to keep safe for all of us is the main essence of what we are going right now. Now, with all those things mentioned by Ma'am Claire in the recap, let us try to utilize all those losses, all those probably weaknesses that we have experienced to strengthen and fight all of this. As I have heard from Ma'am Jo, we have to learn as one, we have to educate as one, because there's nothing impossible, especially when we are praying so hard that these things will stop soon. And let us cooperate, everybody, and be a very good, still, the it is still inherent upon us as teacher education or educator. We still love teaching, we still love our students, and we are due to deliver what is supposedly to be given to all our students. So with this, I would also like to give a special mention to the president who is here, Sir Jimmy Halon. Sir Jimmy, good afternoon. To all the deans again, to the chairpersons, to the faculty and all those participants who have attended this afternoon. Again, I would like to say gracias, good afternoon, maraming salamat, daghan salamat, and God bless, God protect us all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Sir Mario.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Dr. Tan. Thank you so
Okay.
much for staying. I know it's kind of hard for our internet connection, but you managed. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Moltan. At this
Okay.
point,
Welcome.
before we will leave, can we have a photo off? I would request everyone to please turn on their camera. Sid, can you please take picture of us, please?
Okay, sige ma'am. Wait lang ma'am.
Oh, we have our technical assistant for
Okay,
kindly
two
open
screens po tayo ma'am. Wait lang po ah.
Kindly open your camera, mga shy person dyan. Sino
That we do not know if we are on page 1, page 2, Sid.
Okay, wait lang po. Set up pa lang. Turn on
Yes,
lang po ang mga
ma'am. We
camera.
cannot say. You just smile and smile, ma'am.
Open your
Okay,
camera.
ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, wait lang.
Okay. May request
Okay,
everyone.
page 2. Smile lang again. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Done na.
Thank you,
Done.
Sid.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jo and Claire. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you too, ma'am.
Okay, sige.
Thank you so much. So we have Kay. Kay, shared pa ba di mo cam?
Jo?
Nag-share pa di mo screen?
No. Yes. Pero half lang do yan.
Jo, excuse me, Jo.
Yes, ma'am.
Jo, election daw sa this coming September, no? Or is there
Yes,
election or hold over capacity? Basta September is your meeting, no? Annual?
Yes, ma'am. We are
Okay.
to have conference.
Okay.
We will
Sige.
update you, ma'am.
Okay, sige.
So, I'll share the screen. Chania Kay.
Yes.
This is the link for our certificate. The very most important part. So please copy na lang or you can screenshot. Please don't forget to comply, input all the needed entries in our form, especially the suggested topic that you would like we will have for a webinar on our succeeding meetings. So that's it. Thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr.
So,
Mario and the rest of the officers, thank you so much. Especially to Dr. Pen and Dr. Mario.
so we will have our
Yes,
post-conference
sir.
now, ma'am. No,
Opo.
for a few minutes.
For a few minutes lang.
We will
So
ask the
thank you.
officers to remain.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to
Thank
all
you. Thank you.
participants.
Thank you very much.
Lahat ng nakinig.
Thank you.
Congrats, Ma'am Pen.
Congrats, Ma'am Pen.
Bye-bye, ma'am.
Thank
See you next
you.
time.
Congrats, Ate Penny.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Wala ko kanin. Asa na pa ito?
Who were able to join the CPERS? Meron ba po sa atin dyan who was able to join the CPERS as well? Simultaneous kasi tayo eh.
Saan ko na invitation? Asa na ida? Ako, hindi ko ka-appeal, Ana. Aten.
Naka-attend kay ma'am?
Live na ko, ma'am. Asan man ko, hindi mo ko makakita ang live na ko recording. Sa taas. Wala eh, recording.
Ma'am Rika from St. Vincent. Hello po. Hi everyone.
Sa
Sira ulit. Boy, asa ano ni Boy? Kaya gitawag ko, Boy. Boy. Asa tong
So the rest may leave now except for our officers of the contact. Ma'am Nerissa Manalo, are you still here?
Di rin sa Manalo.
Di mao.
Otro Manalo.
Pero takilanante.
Uy, ipa-out ka na si ma'am.
Marami-rami pa tayo.